We're going to lead tonight with a crime story, although it was a crime that happened more than 50 years ago. A real cops and robbers story. A getaway car, bags of money, gunfire. Sounds like a movie, and in fact, it became a movie. Patrick Murphy tonight tells the story of the great St. Louis bank robbery with the help of somebody who was there. He played a small role in the movie, played a big role in the real thing.
Alarm is sounding at the Southwest Bank, Kings Highway and Southwest. Come on, there's a stick up at the Southwest Bank.
On Friday, April 24th, 1953, St. Louis police officers Mel Stein and Bob Heitz were dispatched to a bank robbery at Southwest Bank on the corner of Southwest and Kings Highway. The events that day would eventually inspire a Hollywood movie. The crime itself would become one of the nation's most famous bank robberies. It was Officer Stein who shot and killed the leader of the 4 Chicago robbers. And even though he retired 34 years ago, he remembers the gun battle and shooting Fred Bowerman as if it were yesterday.
I pulled up in front of the bank. Bob got out of the car on the right side, and I got out on the left. And he went to the side of the bank. I opened the storm door, and as I opened it, I saw Bowerman, who was the leader of the gang, fire a shot through the door and hit my partner.
Stein, who saw extensive combat as a Marine in World War II, credits his military training for saving his life that day.
We were always taught in the Marine Corps that when you went into the firefight, you took cover and you made yourself as small a target as you could. So I ducked down after I fired the shots, and as I did, 2 shots went about 4 inches over my head. And with that, needless to say, I backed out of there.
Inside the bank, there was pandemonium. One of the robbers, Frank Vito, who faced life in prison if caught, placed a gun to his head and killed himself. Another robber was shot in the back. As over 100 police from across the city arrived, Fred Bowerman made his move to escape.
I took my position on the side of the bank, side of the storm door. I saw Bowerman pushing a woman out with a gun. We had a shotgun in her back. And he was pushing and pushing and pushing, and they were coming real slow. And I held real steady, and after she passed in front of my line of sight, I started squeezing, and I squeezed off around and caught him through the spine. But anyway, he died about 3 days later.
Documented by a Globe Democrat photographer, thousands of spectators gathered outside the bank, while police hurled tear gas bombs and rounded up the remaining robbers. Officer Heitz never fully recovered from his wounds. Stein chose to continue driving a patrol car, which he did until he retired more than 20 years later. Which would have been the end of the story, but in 1958, director Charles Guggenheim filmed The Great St. Louis Bank Robbery, starring newcomer Steve McQueen. Playing the role of Officer Mel Stein was Mel Stein. That's Mel in one of the film's publicity photos.
I was told by my captain, he says, you're going to be relieved for so many days because you're going to take part in a bank robbery. I said, what are you talking about? And he says, they're going to make a movie, The Bank Robbery, and you're going to play your own part. It was another day's work. I didn't have to patrol all over. I was making a movie. So what?
And when it came time for the big scene, director Guggenheim and Officer Stein worked it out together.
We got together in a group and said, well, how do we want to make this scene? And I suggested, well, how about doing it just exactly the way it happened? He says, let's do it that way.
Some banks might not want to make a big deal about the day they were robbed. But at Southwest Bank, they're proud of their place in history and proud of that movie.
We were showing it like on the anniversary of the robbery. They used to show it in the lobby, even serve popcorn. So some of the customers used to come in and watch it, you know.
This is great. The bank's actually got a picture of the bank robbery in progress on the wall.
Going on, yeah. And then in the meantime, there was shooting going on, and that's why they stoop down behind the cars and so on.
Now, things have changed around here.
Oh yeah, this area was all where the teller cages were and the money vault. Of course, now it's all on the other side.
And this is the actual vault?
This is the actual vault that the money was in, right. They demanded all the tellers give them their money, and then they were standing on the counters and wanting money that was in the vault, not just what was in the teller drawers. So as they were going through all this, of course, the switchboard operator down the basement, which they didn't know she was down there, was calling the police. At the end of the day, actually, when we balanced the cash, my understanding, we were a couple of bucks ahead, so evidently we got a couple of dollars of their money, I guess. I don't know. They were too greedy.
There's something in the American character that loves a good bank robbery, particularly when the bad guys get their just desserts. It's the stuff of legends. But for one retired St. Louis police officer, the great St. Louis bank robbery is very real, living in the memory of a spring day long ago.
Well, some of these things are vivid in your mind, and they just remain there. I mean, my dreams, I still dream about it.